It feels like more than a week, that's for sure. Has it only been since last Saturday, since we last spoke? Today, my friends, though, is Friday, November 4th, 2022, in Berlin, Germany. My name is Adrian Pocobelli, and this is my artist journal, where we share public thoughts with the world. This is not a news channel, which is by design, and that is how we are able to take days off. All by design, my friends. But I do try and keep it pretty consistent here, and thank you for all the love and the comments and just the community reaching out, checking up on me. That is totally awesome. So thanks for the love, and big shout out back to everybody who commented and just checked up on me. Hilarious. Look at this. Look at this masterpiece that Limbo retweeted by Dana Ulama. Okay, what is this called? Do we have a title? Who's Up and Scrolling? No, I think we had, this is a masterpiece. Yeah, first of all, look at what Limbo brought this to my attention through his retweet, or through his tweet here. This is a masterpiece, for example, and I totally agree. Who's Up and Scrolling by Dana Ulama, and I was looking at that. Look at how many retweets, 1,770, 12,500 likes. So, all I know is if I went to MoMA, and I still haven't listened to that video yet, but I will, that we were discussing in a previous episode. If I'm going to MoMA and I see this on the wall, like really, really, really big, I go, this is completely worth my money. I'm so glad I came here today. This, fits the bill. And again, just beautifully put together here, the out of focus, like a director. It is like a director here. The screen scrolling, showing up right on the pupil and the iris here. The, not synthwave, but the vaporwave colors. These colors keep showing up again, which is so interesting. So a beautiful work by Dana Ulama. Continuing on. Thank you, NSF World, last night. Hilarious. And I sent it to my girlfriend immediately, and she thought it was hilarious too. And this is funny too. Lol, sorry for the low effort, but you know what? Sometimes low effort is better and more funny, at least in my universe. So anyways, feeling the love, and right back at you, NSF World. Thank you. We got a few comments. This one by Luis Lantigua, though, just crossed the desk 2 hours ago and is at top of mind, so I'm going to go with this one. Do you know if Object is working on their notifications? We should go public via Twitter? First of all, I think they got it working. I just got a notification from Haiti Rocket today on Taya. I don't know if it's because he went to Taya or if they got things working. I got another one from Daniel W. So it seems to me like they're getting it working. And even if they didn't have it working yet, I don't think we need to bring the pitchforks. I would just send them a message, first of all, or write a comment in their thing. Like, we noticed, XYZ artists are not showing up. And I think people kind of already did that. Like Haiti put out a tweet and a few other people. So maybe they already fixed it, so no need to go, super, I'd say pick the battles. So anyways, so the update on this, I would say, is I think it's fixed. But let me know, Lewis, if you're still seeing stuff. But I just saw today a notification from Haiti, which surprised me. It told me, oh, it looks like it's working. Continuing on, thank you for the sale to Benevolent Muse. Another desert has gone for sale. So I'm going to probably today raise the price to 3.16, as I keep saying. Got to stick to that. Yes, so it will go up to pi today. Continuing on, thank you. Continuing on, AI art at the Venice Biennale. This exhibition is on view with the ECC at Palazzo Mora. So we have some work by 0009. Now, is the Venice Biennale still going? First of all, let me just look, because I thought it was over. Okay, it's on for another month. Okay, so it is on. I'd like a little bit more information. So at Palazzo Mora, so anyways, either way, so AI art at the Venice Biennale, or at least in the city, And I'm not exactly sure what the details are. This exhibition is on view with the ECC at Palazzo Mora. So again, I think they used TVs really nicely here, but I just think TVs are very difficult to make work. We were looking at a tweet like a month ago where someone had put on a display and it was projectors floor to ceiling, and I'm a huge fan of that. Because even here, like you see a vertical work is being turned into two works. It looks like that's what's going on here. And they put a nice creative job here. They did a really nice job considering the constraints of 16 by 9, but ultimately, I think you just put a projector here. But I mean, that's easier said than done. Sometimes lighting is an issue and that sort of thing. So anyways, and I was thinking, like, there's not many artworks that actually fit the 16 by 9, but I did think of one artist, John Baldessari, who many of you, we haven't mentioned John Baldessari yet, but many of you have heard of, one of the more renowned artists of contemporary art. Look at this. I brought up his Giotto series here. Look at these. So some of these, I remember seeing this, I think, at Marion Goodman Gallery. I think that's what it's called, in New York, in like the last time I was there, which is like 7 years ago or something. He was still alive at the time. He wasn't there. I just went on a Saturday afternoon. But I remember these, and I remember thinking, oh, he's making works that are the same dimensions as like a TV or phone, at least in that neighborhood, kind of see here. Not all of them are the same size, interestingly. But you see like these it's got a phone ratio to it. So all to say, not many people, here you really see it, these kind of awkward phone ratios. So all to say, the reason I bring that up is not many works fit TVs, just to state the obvious. Oh, and and look at this. And this, my friends, is the reason you watch this show, so you can look at this. John Baldessari, who does a lot of inkjet on canvas, which I'm a huge fan of, traveling through the mediums in my world. Here you have a painting that it's not an oil painting, it is a fresco. It has been reproduced and by, I guess, photography. Maybe it's in a book, so printed in a book, likely scanned, unless he took the photos himself, which is totally possible, but likely scanned and then printed out again, inkjet on canvas, transformed alchemically with lavender here. It seems to be the color. They all are that color, and it is a wonderful series here. And you can see, and this was also part of what he was working on, was this very simple idea of language and image, and what happens, like here, I think it says move, and like lavender actually kind of makes sense with this work, but sometimes the words have nothing to do with the image. And anyways, here are some works that would fit on a TV, but there are not many. And I assume this was a conceptual decision by John Baldessari to make works that are kind of in the dimensions of a phone. That is the theory, and there are the works. Beautiful, beautiful works traveling through the mediums. Generally speaking, I'm a huge fan of John Baldessari. Sometimes it gets a little much, the kind of artiness, the conceptual artiness, but overall, huge fan. He's got beautiful work in the Städel in Frankfurt, by the way, traveling through the mediums. Acrylic paint on inkjet canvas. I'm a huge fan. I do it myself. I think that is one of the big, finally, I think that is one of the main conversations, so to speak, unspoken many times, of contemporary art, which is traveling through the mediums. Is what happens when you reproduce, and just like we were saying, there's the fresco, you take a picture and you go through that whole process. The image transforms, we could argue alchemically, speaking metaphorically here. Continuing on, so strange thing, blowing up, right? You may remember from a couple of months ago, really strange thing kind of blew up in our universe about 2 months ago, right? Now he's on like Hypebeast, Design Boom. These kind of really big viral sites are finally, it just goes to show like they're finally getting the message. And they are showing it. And I don't see why they wouldn't. Like I was even looking at the likes, like he's got like 5 times more likes than the other works. So the public is resonating. So all to say, strange thing with this very simple concept of doing what AI fashion of contemporary kind of brands in Renaissance contexts. A very simple but powerful idea and beautifully executed. And a lot of people have great ideas, as I tell my girlfriend, but execution is everything. That's why you kind of don't need to worry about people stealing your ideas too much. Execution is everything. So, and most people can't execute, in a sense. Like we all can if we apply ourselves, but oftentimes that's where things get screwed up. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, Strange Thing has executed beautifully on these works, and they are getting some major attention. Look at this, 10.4 million followers. Design boom, so kind of hitting the mainstream here, Strange Thing. So congratulations to him. Also, this was very interesting. Daniel Myth shared his how he's done this year. Total sales, including fees and royalty, almost 26,000 Tezos, which, that's probably like close to $40,000 US. In US dollars these days. That's with current Tezos prices. And Tezos was at $4 earlier in the year. So he may have made even more than that, like 50 or 60. A respectable middle-class wage. So primary, and this is also super interesting here. Primary sales, 14,184 Tezos. Secondary sales were almost as much at 11,600 Tezos. So, and he hasn't put out a ton of work, I don't think, this year compared to last year, I think, at least in the last 6 months. So what does that tell us? What does it tell me? Is do not ignore Tezos. Like a lot of people think, Tezos, you don't make that much money. It's all about Ethereum. It's tempting to think that, right? Like that you'll never make any money on Tezos. It tells me, message to myself is put out a whole lot more work. That is the message to myself. And, quick thought on that. Like when I was in Prague, which is a wonderful Halloween city, I didn't even really realize because I'd never been there before, but it almost looks like the Disney Castle, but I found out that the real Disney Castle is based on somewhere in Bavaria. But they have beautiful, like there's the astrology clock. It's like a real medieval classic European city with a ton of history, the Habsburgs and all that. While I was there, I forgot I had the Blur.io airdrop. And for people that had bought stuff on OpenSea in the last, year, had 12 of these airdrop boxes. And I never followed up on it because I was worried about security. And then I missed the deadline. And those things could be worth thousands and thousands of dollars. So the reason I'm telling you this story on this kind of money situation, I was thinking to myself, okay, I felt terrible for about 10 minutes because who knows what opportunity I missed. And I thought to myself, one of my favorite sayings, which is defeat into victory. In other words, it's by some British general whose name I don't remember. Turn defeat into victory. And so I just drew on my iPad and on my phone for all of yesterday on that entire train ride while I was waiting in the train station. It was a beautiful train ride, by the way. And so, so now I'm just totally determined to put out a ton of art and make up for this huge mistake I made. So if you ever get down, turn defeat into victory. If you ever suffer a defeat, and that, my friends, was a defeat, I think. Maybe the airdrop will be worth nothing and find out in January. Anyway, continuing on. This was interesting. Grant Riven Yun, who has done, I think he blew up this year. He sells for unbelievable amounts of money. It's neo-precisionism. We haven't looked at his work yet, but we can at some point. But this is the tweet. I love how the physical pieces from The Currency by Damien Hirst is like 3 times the value of the NFT. I'm not sure if he's being serious or sarcastic. It doesn't matter. To me, this kind of validates part of what I've been saying here, which is a photo of a physical work is turned into an NFT is a NFT of a photo of a physical work or a scan. And to me, this is kind of like market is showing us that. That is my theory. I mean, and again, if people want to do that, I have zero problem, and I show those works, and I'll show some beautiful works today. But all to say, I think this kind of adds to the argument that if you have a physical work, it's kind of like that is the artwork. Now, to be fair, Damien Hirst himself has chosen the NFTs. Now, we could say maybe it's for liquidity, because he can sell those for 4 ETH or whatever the floor is right now on OpenSea. But nevertheless, he has 1,000 of them out of the 10,000, and he picked them all to be NFTs. So, again, these are just my opinions, and everybody, and I'm happy to show them. And if people are doing art and taking pictures of the art and selling them to people that are happy to buy them, I'm happy. I think that's great, right? So just to say that, continuing on the collector artist theme, which I just find so delightfully provocative, because it's such a taboo. It's like, and it kind of gets to a lot of the core of expectations and assumptions on how people are supposed to be, right? And Unknown Collector has put out some artwork, and I found it delightful and wonderful. And it's kind of like a taboo, like you're not supposed to make art, as if like, artists are some sort of, mystical geniuses, and that you are simply, and there may be some truth to it. Like maybe there is a truth to, chosen by nature, but I mean, how many artists are successful artists and are not, so all to say, if I think anybody should be able to make art. And it's sort of speaking against this tweet here. Isaac, who said, it's bad times when all the collectors are suddenly artists, LMAO. So just ridiculing collectors for trying to be artists. Like, who cares? That's what I say. Like, and maybe, like art in a lot of ways is like woodworking, okay, in my opinion. And if, I don't know if Isaac is an artist or not, but all I know is if some people have started a year and a half in this business, in the NFT scene, a lot of them aren't even artists to begin with. Remember cello? Like, seems like a cellist and putting out beautiful, beautiful work. So who is to say who should and shouldn't be making art? And this idea, this kind of over-privileging and over-mystification of the artist, I don't think serves anybody well, except for artists that are kind of seen like that. But I just think the more we learn, the more I learn about art and artists, the more it gets demystified. And this whole idea of, this romantic idea of the artist being like some dark brooding, kind of goes with that whole depression vibe, not to spend too much time on this, but, the art, the brooding, terrible, like it's genius. It's a bit of a cliche, okay? Like it's not very modern. Okay, so I think we need to take these assumptions and frankly just put them in the trash compactor or press delete, empty the trash bin on those. So Unknown Collector just replied, and I'll get through this quickly here, and then we'll get to the art. I respect you, but I think the exact opposite. It's extremely important that collectors try to curate art, create art, and read books about art. It's all part of educating oneself about art in all areas possible. And he continues here, and again, maybe this guy can make great art, and maybe he won't make it today, but will in 6 months. Like if he works 4 to 8 hours a day, he's going to be working more than most artists on art. And a lot of these collectors can afford to do that. And who's to say, and what, are we going to discourage people from buying art because then they won't be considered artists? Then I never would have bought art. And it'd be like, oh, well, then people won't believe it. And now it's like we have the dawn of the artist collector. So I just say throw out all the taboos is my little editorial for today. Just like last time, like I kind of want to see a collector artist kick ass, right? So continuing on, Artie Hands. My big bet is based on my conviction that art being created by this community will become incredibly important and valuable one day. I don't know who or what or when, but I know. I think a lot of us have that feeling, and I suspect he's right. Who knows who, what, or when, but it's going to happen. This was retweeted by Atmos. Remember the guy who did the phenomenal cyberpunk works? Those phenomenal go check out Atmos if you haven't. Previous episode with the cyberpunk display inside a car. Blue. So he retweeted this really, really, really nice artwork. What is this called? Spiral is a Halloween-inspired piece that pays homage to my favorite horror artist, Junji Ito. And this is by Albert Soloviev and was selling for only 0.03 ETH. So, yeah, those 145 were minted, though. I wonder what that turns into. It's pretty good business, actually. 145 times 3 that's like 3.5 ETH. That's pretty good. There's a, argument for the open edition, hey? Continuing on, just with this whole kind of in the Atmos limbo, kind of cyberpunk, vaporwave vibe. Here's another guy. I think Tokyo Love is the name. Just very, very interesting work. Nebula by Tokyo Love, tweeted out by Liquid Egg White. Just kind of head-turning work. A new work by Ellie Lowe. This actually went for 14 Tezos, a 1 of 1. I was going to bid on it, and then I fell asleep. So here we go. Let's just see if we can get this working. So there we have it. I love that glitch that Ellie Lowe does. So anyways, a 1 of 1 for auction, going for a mere 14 Tezos. Considering kind of how exciting this artist is, that seems like a pretty good deal. Kind of in that trash art vibe, interestingly. Kind of really sticks to that trash art theme, which is interesting. So that's Ellie Lowe. And Pastele also had a similar glitch. I want you to see this. Let's see if we can get... Look at that glitch. You see that? I almost wonder if it's the same person. Probably not, but... So that is Pastele. A very cool work. Computer Death. Good title. And just kind of interesting. 3D animation by Josephine Johnson. So, very interesting work. Let's get the mic sorted out here. Continuing on, and you might remember Pastele from this TV that we looked at, Office Woman DVD. Of course, this was almost iconic. I want to call it Cup of Tea by Pastele. Female stuff with the great audio. So, super interesting artist. Continuing on, a new work by Uxine, God AFK. And this is from the Malware Museum series, so kind of classic Uxine, but always an original composition. This kind of looks like the Grim Reaper, kind of a religious figure. Almost what looks like a monk was the source imagery, but turned into the Grim Reaper with the scythe. Bit of a Halloween feel to it. Classic colors, and then you got the retro computer, the retro mobile phone, and the surveillance camera. And just very, very, very stylish. I love the graffiti here. So very nice details. The whole thing, and it looks like an oil painting. The way, it's stuff like, I should have had this big. It's like little stuff like you see the edge there that, it's almost like an oil painting. So just really, really beautiful execution as always from Uxine. How much was the mint price? It was on offer. So 2016, okay, what was accepted? Yeah, it was between 20 and 24. So congratulations to Uxine, a nice sale there, a couple hundred Tezos. So this gloom tube, a bunch of people falling down the stairs. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this. So the fact that this gloom tube exists is not news to most of you. What I wondered to myself is, what is this about? And this is my theory on this piece, which is Gloomtube does a lot of kind of the suburban wasteland and suburban settings, and I think he saw this is like a classic sort of suburban, or not even suburban. I mean, this is almost like just outside of downtown or even in downtown, you could find these kind of structures. I go down one of these to go to the grocery store, for example. So I'm very familiar. And it's just kind of a classic kind of city architectural structure, urban structure. And so this is my theory on this piece, because I couldn't really figure it out. Like, you got some guys falling down a stairs. What is this? Is it just Gloomtube's misanthropy, as we were discussing last time? And this is my take. I think he started with the architectural, the urban structure, and then he was trying to figure out, okay, what do I do with this? And his solution was to put some kind of modern people falling down the stairs. And I think it's that simple. Like, here's someone unless maybe it's this guy with the shoes untied, took everybody down, and he's about to hit his head dramatically. So just an interesting work from Gloomtube. Beautifully executed. All this is beautiful. Just like a kind of a mysterious work, though. This one's a little bit more enigmatic, I would argue. So continuing on, so Bazaya is in the house with a few drops. I think something's going to come on Arthropo. GM, the Myth, joins the crew. Last heads up for my Arthropo drop. He's got a few of these. Here comes my hood, and then some Spanish here. And so anyways, a little preview of what Bazaya has in store for this Arthropo drop, which is done by Mikey Wilson. So here's Myth, the legend, with this awesome Honda motorbike, classic. So very cool. And Stulka has a work, special commission drop for Fort Gallery. So Fort Gallery is back in the house. And shout out to them, who bought one of my works happily. And yeah, so they went, and I guess they commissioned this from Stulka. And I don't know if there's a animation here. It is a movie. Maybe there's some volume. Yeah, not sure why that's a movie. MP4. But anyways, cool work. Continuing on. Here's an artist that I'd never seen before, but just kind of turned my head. On Twitter, Ilio Givel. And this was listed for $250 and canceled, but transferred to someone. So just kind of an interesting work. I mean, kind of half, representative, like strawberries, but half. This almost looks like it's a statue of the Belvedere torso, let's say. And like almost a Liechtenstein vibe to this, but not quite. Say with the mirror and even this color. Do you know strawberry reflection, the shifting lines that permeate the content of solid form, cause it to completely fragment. It is not known if they are pieces or a single being. Do you know the Belvedere torso? If I have that right, yeah, by Michelangelo. This is a very famous, I think it's by Michelangelo. Let's look. Yeah, like this is the piece. So this is the famous, maybe that's the important thing here, is the piece itself. Yeah, so a very famous, I think it inspired Michelangelo. I think he saw this and was like blown away by it. Fragmentary marble statue of a male nude known to be in Rome from the 1430s and signed prominently on the front case by Apollonius, son of Nestor, who is unmentioned in ancient literature. Interesting. So I'm sure, I believe this was shown to Michelangelo. Yeah. The contorted pose and musculature of the torso were highly influential on Renaissance Mannerist and Baroque artists, including Michelangelo and Raphael, and it served as a catalyst of classical revival. And then they show this work by Michelangelo here, which is in the Last Judgment. And this is famous. Very, very famous. The flayed, I can't remember what saint that is. Saint Bartholomew is showed holding the knife of his martyrdom and his flayed skin. Anyways, we are getting off topic here. But ever so distantly, that piece that we were looking at reminded me of the Belvedere torso. That's a pretty, you can see it though. You can see it, but yeah, it probably wasn't intended. Continuing on, here's some of Ilio Givel's other work. So just kind of an interesting, kind of a new artist for us. We're always trying to put in the new blood here for our wonderful community here. Ronnie Kaufman, look at this. Interesting work, kind of reminds me of those other, remember those animated pieces, those animated abstract pieces? So Ronnie Kaufman, got to be careful here loading stuff up because sometimes it can kill my mic. Yeah, so interesting artist anyway. So just in passing, some new work by Dan Control, a new series, the ASCII Experience. You know what I really like about this series? None have sold, by the way. I'm tempted to get one because he might just burn them, and then all of a sudden you might end up with something really classic. What I really like is how he's using color. Usually I see ASCII in black and white. He's using color, so that is very cool. And this is, of course, a Picasso this is based on, the family of Saltenbach. I'm sure a lot of you recognize that. Now, the reason why it didn't sell, I think maybe it's a little pricey. Maybe people think it's too easy. Like you put it in, like, because he put out a couple of other works. I picked up this fire, which I loved, and I thought went well with my fire. And I thought, oh, those could go in the same room together. That's often how I collect, is pairing things together. So I wonder if that's part of the issue. This is really, really cool. I picked up one of these, only a Tezos. So Dan Control and this new series, I really like it. Like I kind of ran to buy it, then I was like, oh, it's a little more expensive than I'd like, and it's kind of a high edition, but I really like what's going on here, so I hope he continues to do it. And I may just pick this up anyway. Like, this is awesome. Maybe there should be more manual stuff in here, because you're not sure if he's just putting it into a generator. He watches this show oftentimes, so maybe he can chime in a little bit about the process, because I think the results are actually quite striking, as I'm sure he thinks as well. Continuing on, this is also by Dan Control, a very nice piece, Shower Curtain, as he continues to explore the gradients in a very powerful way. So this is going for 0.2 ETH, and we love Dan Control's work. And here's another bath. So Bathe, actually this is by Timothy Julian, and so we got a bit of a bathroom vibe here with the kitchen curtains. Again, these could hang in the same room, couldn't they? So just a very fun, almost like, after going to Prague, I almost want to call this almost Art Deco. I went to some nice cafes over in Prague. Another artist, illustrator, Eros, this is by Manet. Last sold for 0.3, so made a nice sale. Let's look at the work. And yeah, it looks like a lot of bodies sort of colliding and making love to each other here. Didn't really see that. So black and white, really nice piece. Almost looks like a physical work, doesn't it? But it's probably unfinished study created for a wider artwork, digitized using Photoshop. So not exactly sure what that means. Designed by Manet. Very cool. Another new artist. This is Axstone. And this is Laboratory. I thought this was really nice work. Really interesting. Another new style. System message, okay, cancel. Looks like almost like a cafe kitchen sort of thing. Very interesting, just mysterious work. Here is some of Céline Sinar's other work. And she is on Super Rare. And she's made some really nice sales. 1.87 ETH, 2.75, 1.5, 1.5. Interesting. Just a bottomless, endless amount of talent out there. Now, Rata has an auction going on for one of his rat, almost like, yeah, fake MFer. So this is going for only 43 Tezos right now, 11 hours to go. He's got a pretty big fan base, so I could see this going for more. And they love the rat works. And yeah, so it's sort of Rata doing the MFers. And continuing on, should have sold those at 6. Those were 6 ETH at one point. I sold at like 2, some of those, and that's how I bought a lot of the art on Tezos. But yeah, anyway, I had like 7 or 8 of those things. Anyway, they're all gone now, happily. Kumakanga, a new work by Daniel W., who I am getting notifications from right now, I believe, and a new monster from the Weird and Terrifying series. So just very cool. I like the minimal design. Very awesome. Xerox is now on Super Rare. Took a while because he's kind of like a big Tezos artist. So this is his Genesis, I believe. And let's see what it went for here. Clockwork Metropolis, probably based on that movie Metropolis. Kind of has a bit of a 1910 vibe, doesn't it? A bit of a 1914 vibe. Wow. It went for 8.69 ETH. So $14,000 to Megazord NFT in auction. Let's just see what this started at. Vincent Van Gogh started this at 2 ETH on November 1st, and I guess 24 hours later it goes for 8.69. 8 frames and endless repetition. So nice sale by Xerox here. Moving on to Popple. It's kind of a similar feeling work to me. And this is just some work. I don't think this is minted, which is kind of cool. This is kind of becoming a fun trend to not mint everything, and everybody's kind of, or a lot of people are starting to tweet about that. I need to just start make time to release the work, not just make it. And so anyways, kind of a cool work by Popple. I like that flashing eye there. Cool pixel work. Kind of reminds me of 1-Bit Necro a tiny bit. And another new work by Popple, Buy for 6. Looks like there are 12 left. He has sold probably about 13 then of the 25 edition. And so let's see what's going on here. Daphnia philopoda, part of the Pixel Ancton, just like their ancestors on Earth, Daphnia are of high adaptability and can be found in various cosmic environments. The once water-dancing fleas are now slowly making their ways to the deepest part of the non-known cosmos. So a very fun work. Again, this has screen printing written all over it, to me. I mean, just imagine. You do it, I'd probably do black on like yellow paper, and you could even do editions with like orange paper, green paper, red paper. You do editions of 10 or 20 of each of those. Yeah, so again, that still pixelated work has its benefits because it can be screen printed. Continuing on. Toux, this kind of went around on Twitter a little bit, so probably some of you have seen this. I thought it was just a really interesting semi-abstract work. I mean, it looks like a bull, but it's not worrying about being recognized as that. And it looks like it's got a few filters on it and then a pixelation. Looks like a multi-filter work here. Blemish Sublime, Glitch Relics pixel version, and a couple of works by Santiago here. Very interesting abstract works continue to come out. Here is another one. Look at this. Very interesting. So yeah, this could be printed out really nicely. Would make a very nice print. And this is going for 7, edition of 20. A new work from John Cates. I don't think I've ever looked at John Cates' work before, but the name rings familiar. And let's see, New November now, announcing New November's Glitch Art Adventures. So pretty cool. Let me just expand it here. A skull and a computer, a modern still life here. A new work by Haiti Roquette. So this is what showed up again. So now he's minting on Taya, and that notification came in. Okay, I might even have it here. Here it is. So here is your proof. So Lewis, I think the notifications are starting to come. And so good thing we didn't make too much of an issue of it because I think it's starting to work. So anyways, just more greatness from Haiti. Love the Nintendo Glitch series. More Nintendo Glitch work from Glitchtown Arcade. So taking it in a different direction. Look at this. So playing around here. Very cool. Bare knuckle. Glitchtown Arcade, Do Not Punch the Screen. Edition of 30 for 3 Tezos each. And I think we have another one. A work on Foundation from Glitchtown Arcade for going for 0.25 and a very low reserve of 0.05 by Glitchtown Arcade. Let's just take a look at this. It's fun to see these Nintendo Glitchworks on Ethereum, isn't it? It's just got a different feeling to it, in a sense. Like, if I was Haiti, like he's pretty married to Tezos, but if I was Haiti, I'd be very curious to see what a Nintendo Glitchwork would go for on like Foundation, for example, or even on, imagine Haiti on Super Rare. I mean, he's kind of made fun of the video thing, but I hope they just invite him on there. I don't see, like, if I was running Super Rare, why not just invite Haiti on? Maybe they have. It's totally possible. All to say, but yeah, so it's very fun to see Nintendo Glitchworks on Ethereum. I don't see it very often. So this is a newer ROM corruption, which is what I mean by Nintendo glitch, and ROM corruption and digital collage. So this is interesting, because this is part of why I want to do some ROM corruption Nintendo glitch stuff, because there are just so many directions you can go in. Because you can make your glitch, and you don't need to just stay there. You can put that into Photoshop and work on each frame. Okay, and I think that's kind of, you just have a bunch of source material, and it's already glitched, and then you can go to town on it. You know what I'm saying? So Mason the Third, Corrupted Souls, very cool. Taking a bit of risk clicking on these links here because my mic has been cutting out. That's why my voice is going a little bit. Oh, this guy. He's the brilliant dude or dudette that did this brilliant work. So yeah, okay. That's why I'm following Mason the Third. So more interesting work. Very interesting artist. I was just scratching the surface on Mason the Third. So continuing on, a 1 of 1 by LB, which sold right away. Look at this. Kind of reminds me of, what is the name of the artist, really famous, who did those photographs? Etienne de Marais? How do I, horses. Let's see if Etienne Jules Marais, saved by Google there. My God. Okay. Yeah, so this guy. Etienne Jules Marais. Oh yeah, this is classic. Like, look at this. Okay. Etienne Jules Marais. So this is a person in motion, but turned into a abstraction. Beautiful, beautiful work. Now, there is another photographer, and I think that's probably the one I'm thinking of, who uses, maybe I'll put horses and see if this is Etienne Jules Marais. Yeah, it's a different photographer who shows like horses running kind of frame by frame. That's kind of what that LB reminded me of. Continuing on, look at this. I'm trying to speed through this episode, guys, but there's a lot of work. This is by Canuck Zapta, but it's the only plan that allowed humanity to continue to accelerate the process of assimilation and resist the shoddy workmanship that comes with every metanoia. A little bit of Greek there. Okay, so this is what I love about it, is the contrast and just the unusualness and the audacity. Really having this massive pixelated rainbow in the middle of this kind of classic cloudy sky sunset. Interesting. This is a DALL-E-generated image. So you see how DALL-E can really bring ideas, or Stable Diffusion. I started using Stable Diffusion yesterday. It was like in a serious way, and it was quite interesting. So these technologies need to be used to really be understood, and that is part of our process here. Maybe that's what Unknown Collector was saying as well. If you want to be a great collector, you kind of got to know how to make art to a certain degree. And as they say, artists are sometimes the best collectors. Okay, and I actually kind of agree with that. I may be biased, though. Sky Goodman, the only thing closest to a halo was a gaze. I'll tell you what I really like about Sky Goodman's work are these big, juicy pixels that he puts at the top. We looked at another work by him earlier on where these were kind of animated, and it really gives great effect, and I'm a big fan of that. A new collaboration by Francoise Gamma and Emilio.jp. I think I bought the first one, so this is a really cool one too. I just love the combination of kind of big pixels with François Gama's lines. Very, very nice. It's tempting to pick that up. Edition of 30 for $8. This is a 1 of 1 available for $5 by Puro May. It's kind of tempting to pick this up. I may not. But it's very tempting to pick this up. Very cool work. We've looked at Puro May before. Yeah, remember this? Remember this. Yeah, and this is still available. He's the guy that did the Purple Drank, right? So this is a 1 of 1 available for $5 Tezos. So that's pretty tempting, isn't it? Continuing on, so mech.txt. I'm not sure if this has been released yet. I've been on vacation. It looks like it has, unless this is works in progress. But you can start to see what this is going to look like, this collaboration here. Looks like mech.txt and a programmer. And another work in progress, quick drawing before 9 to 5 as per usual, still with the flu now, so I might delay my dailies a little bit. Get well soon, mech.txt. Flu's no laughing matter. So anyway, this beautiful, beautiful landscape. Obviously good enough to be working though, so that is a good sign. So we've been looking at Charles.ai. So AI's been blowing up, I'd say, a little bit. We've been tracking it here, again, for a couple of months, but we're starting to see it kind of blow up in a whole new way. Charles.ai.eth, who is now on Super Rare, had quite a last week. These past 5 days have been crazy. Almost 20th volume on Super Rare, #1 in AI art sales on the platform. Met so many new awesome people, got DM'd by plenty of people I look up to in this space. Didn't expect this at all. Now I need to rest a bit. It kind of reminds me of Louis Osborne when he blew up. So anyways, that's the promise of this space, is you keep doing your thing, as Charles AI did, and he was doing all right. He was making nice progress, but all of a sudden he's making bank. And not only making bank, but getting glory and getting recognition as a great artist. So, I mean, good for him. Here's some more. These past 10 hours, I've been responsible for 43% of the Super Rare bot activity. So just more evidence. And look at this, and then inbox going crazy. Look at this, 634, 1 ETH. I mean, this is the dream, isn't it? Right? So it's great to see it happen. And, sometimes people are like, get envious and whatever. You should be jumping up and down cheering, okay? Because if it can happen to Charles AI, it can happen to anybody, okay? That is what's great about this space. You want stories like this, and you want to celebrate this, because otherwise it'll eat your soul. I have a friend who said, how do you do this show? Like, doesn't your ego? It's like, I just don't care. Like, I mean, as far as my own, like, I'm just beyond, you can't care and see it as a big competition. It's not a pie where there's only a limited amount. It's not like if someone, if Charles AI didn't sell that they're going to buy a Pocobelli. Okay. So you just got to be happy because it doesn't affect you anyway. Okay. So just a little bit on that, because some people struggle with that. And, maybe I thought about that stuff 15 years ago, but now it's like, you just gotta be happy that that's happening in this space. And it's just like some guy that got picked out of the Twitter ether. This is good. This is very good. And look at this. I am sold out on Super Rare, except for an ongoing auction that has already started. So this was 0.95 ETH, and that ended up going for, I think it was 1.5. I think it was that guy, Valley in the Room. So look at these sales. So he's just made like a fortune. I mean, 2.5. Like, what is this? This looks like he probably made about like 20 ETH, which is what? $30,000 US dollars. So, and his last sale went for 4,000. Maybe he's made more than that. So anyways, congratulations to Charles AI. Now, another guy on Nifty Gateway. So I am proud to announce I am now a Nifty Gateway publisher. So remember Limbo announced this? So this is something I want to follow up on, because if you go to their website, you can apply to be a publisher too. And that's a bit of a flex, and it's kind of fun. And it's just like, sort of, why not be on Nifty Gateway? Because it's kind of been shut out for most artists in a sense. Like, you got to be invited, as far as doing an auction on there. But now you can have a Nifty Gateway profile. So I say apply for that if it makes sense. So strange thing, his Genesis went for almost 5 ETH. To a woman called Wild, thank you so much for your bid. Really appreciate you and for being patient during the technical difficulties. And thank you all to all the other bidders who contributed. So this work went for 5 ETH. So AI is having a moment here. Congratulations to Strange Thing, who is also going from summit to summit. And this was a very nice homage by Venta, whose work we've looked at a lot. Strange Tea, in part inspired by Strange Thing. Can you spot the references? I would assume it's this. So very interesting AI art. Like now that I've sort of used a little bit of Stable Diffusion, I think I've used them all. Or at least I've used Midjourney, I've used DALL-E, and I've used Stable Diffusion. I think it's just a matter of spending some time. And it's pretty interesting. I recommend everybody should be trying these tools out. I think a lot of people have. So anyways, a very nice homage here. This is Kika Nikolela, who actually picked up, I think, a work or two the other day. This is an AI work, and it kind of reminds me of Leonora Carrington, especially her other work. I'll show you. We got a couple. So this was a head-turning work, and you can kind of see the AI distortion in here. But really nicely done. Again, the more you use this stuff, the more skill you see it takes to get these kind of results. This one reminds me of Leonora Carrington, Surreal, Dream, and AI. You almost wonder if this was the source, because you can upload pictures, because I brought some Leonora Carrington. I think she was, I don't think she was the wife, but maybe the lover of Max Ernst, famous woman surrealist. As you can see here, had some sort of attachment to Max Ernst. So anyways, look her up sometime. Really interesting, kind of almost mystical looking artist. So yeah, anyways, kind of has that vibe to it, Kika Nikolela, but obviously totally her own and very powerful. This is strictly between us. So very nice piece. I'm just curious what these sold for. Primary 2, 3, and 4, and 6. So she sort of raised the price. That's actually a common technique, by the way, in the traditional art world. So I've been told that you sell the first editions at a certain price, and then as they get as you have lower and lower supply, you sell for more and more money. Another new AI artist, Maneki Neko AI Art. So again, kind of a Art Nouveau look to it. So just kind of interesting. Seems to have Art Nouveau probably in the prompt or as an upload. Nice work found by Uda Museum by Indido, who we've covered many times here. Just a beautiful looking work, a head turner, using again a lot of those spheres that Indido likes to use. And a new work by 0009, who again is in Venice. So do not forget about that. So almost photorealistic here, blob, sort of continuing the blob theme, what I call blob. And this is part of the Super Chief NFT thing that we were mentioning. So I think this is at the Venice Biennale or in the city at the same time. The reason I say that is because often it's by country and pavilions. So it not being at a pavilion of a certain kind makes me go, okay, maybe it's just in the city at the same time. Happy to be corrected. Feel free to leave a comment if I'm not correct on that. Seafoam, another very beautiful work by Javier Tomeo, who is now calling himself Tomeo on Twitter. So just very interesting. And this is a physical work. I don't even know if it's been turned into an NFT. But I thought it kind of fit our NFT community here with the McDonald's theme. This almost looks like a Filet-O-Fish, doesn't it? Nice choice. And some old McDonald's ketchup packages here. So very cool art. You can see them working on it here in the studio. Noah Verrier, other McDonald's works. I think just a brilliant concept. My friend did a Starbucks. My friend Mark Liam Smith, he did Starbucks cups and I loved it. And here it is. Yeah, just modern. This is on Foundation, by the way. So physical works as NFTs. So sandwich, yeah. So you just see this modern, the world of the present, the world in which we live, cornflakes. Yeah, so you got to love it. Really talented painter. And that, my friends, finally I hope you are all caught up as much as we can be on this week's Artist Journal episode. Thank you for joining me once again. Until next time, take care. This is Walk, by the way.